Visit elmhurst.org to explore the new City of Elmhurst website. Find out the latest Elmhurst news, pay utility bills and parking tickets, report concerns, and much more. Elmhurst.org is an ideal way to discover what Elmhurst offers your business, your family, your life.
I'm a sucker for a bell, what can I say? Welcome to this early morning State of Our City event 2011 in Elmhurst, Illinois. I'm Ken Bartels, Senior Vice President and Director here at the Community Bank, and the Community Bank and the Chamber are pleased to welcome all of you here to this annual report on our Chamber and our city. That bell is from the Elmhurst Historical Museum collection, and that's appropriate because 2011 is the 175th anniversary of the founding of our city, dating back to 1836. It's wonderful to see all of you here this morning. Many of you are return guests annually. Some of you are new. The State of the City has been a continuous sellout since 1998. And it's also welcome to the Elmhurst Our Kind of Town crew, which will share this opportunity with so many folks who couldn't be here this morning. And to begin, I would ask all of you to stand up and join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance to our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That exercise of getting up is always one of the high points of the morning for all of you, I know. I'm happy now to make two introductions for back-to-back welcomes. First, you will hear from Bill Gooch, the Chairman of the Board of the Community Bank of Elmhurst, and then from Kevin O'Keefe, Chair of the Board of the Elmhurst Chamber of Commerce. First, Bill Gooch.
Good morning. I'd like to welcome you all here. I don't know about you, but I get a really good feeling when I see a group like this that likes to support Elmhurst. And a special thanks, of course, as we go along, to our Mayor DeCiani for sharing his thoughts with us. I did have one thing that I wanted to share with you. Somebody mentioned to me, and I did verify it. Do you know that there are 37 different towns, communities, and cities that are members of the Elmhurst Chamber of Commerce? And who can blame them? You know, it's a well-run, dynamic, arguably one of the best chambers in Illinois. And who can blame the chamber for taking them? We need the money. It takes stuff to put on all of these programs and all of the activities that they do. But having said that, I'm not much on New Year's resolutions, but I would like to urge us to follow the motto of the Chamber of Commerce and say, let's shop Elmhurst and buy Elmhurst. That's more than just a phrase, folks. Every time you spend $1 in Elmhurst, whether you buy a car or go out to eat or get a quart of milk, it helps not only the city, the police, the fire, the park district, but arguably the most significant is our schools. So if you would join me in an attempt to make a New Year's resolution, let's do a little bit more shopping in Elmhurst. Thank you and welcome.
On behalf of the Elmhurst Chamber of Commerce, I want to welcome you to the 2011 State of Our City Mayoral Address. I'm going to echo what Mr. Gooch had to say. As a small business owner in Elmhurst, I want to thank you for supporting our Shop Local, Buy Local initiatives. Next time you go out looking for a car, go to our local car dealerships. It helps our tax base. When you go out for going out for dinner or lunch this weekend, go to a local restaurant. It really helps us out. If you need to buy any kind of gift for a friend or family, shop local. It really helps out. The future growth of our local economy is dependent on your support. I also want to thank our Chamber Board of Directors for their hard commitment, for their hard work. The leadership is a major asset. Thank you, and let's have a prosperous 2011, and go Bears.
For those that you have been here in previous years, you know that Mr. Quigley and I have a little game that we play. And guess who won? Nancy, would you?
Cheated!
By the way, John, yeah, I would share with you, we're going to bring a celebrity as your partner next time. It's going to be Stevie Wonder. I brought a couple of things here that were mine. That this is a warm-up suit and my jacket, but knowing the hot air that comes out of Mr. Quigley, I don't think we'll need either one of these. However, we do have a little item here that's...
Show the back of it. There we go. I like that.
All right.
He got this 20 years ago when he turned 50.
It's a little snug on him. Give him a chance. That's an above-the-belt girdle on him.
Well, the Cardinals always were small players.
Since 1908?
Okay, then. Now, in some degree of openness and the buzzword transparency, I must share the fact that John's partner in this golfing accomplishment was me. And I told him that afterwards that I'd brought my A game, which is somewhere between awful and atrocious. And I lived up to that. And I told John afterwards, I said, it's only fortunate that I didn't run you over with the cart in the course of the round. And he reminded me that he was driving. Now, at this annual gathering, it's an opportunity for all of us to hear about the dynamic state of our Chamber of Commerce and Industry, one of the best in Illinois. And this chamber in 2011 is moving forward with considerable zeal and great spirit as it looks to improve membership within Elmhurst. It looks for business promotion. It looks for the opportunity to make sure that people far and wide know about the great things happening in Elmhurst. And a vital part of all of those things, along with Kevin and the Board of Directors, is the President and the CEO of the Elmhurst Chamber, John Quigley.
Thank you. You'll have to bear with me a little. I am a little under the weather. In fact, even with this jersey on, I'm feeling a bit of a chill. Ken, I was able to stop by Leonard's and get myself a new jacket. If you could pull that out for me. I am a little cold. I know it's, you guys probably don't feel it, but I've got a little, I've got a little bit of the chill here.
Supporting the local economy.
No. Nancy, bring the Cardinal jacket out. No, he doesn't wear it.
If you could just drape that over my shoulders. Yeah. You know, when Bill was graduating from Ripon College in 1836, He had the foresight to know what Elmhurst could be. And as one of the first residents of this community, we thank him for his many lifetimes of investment. Oh, Beloit, I'm sorry. Did I get it wrong? I just picked the college that does all the winning in that division. Sorry. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for taking time away from your busy workday to join us for the State of Our City mayoral address. I'd like to thank everybody at the dais for attending, our friends at Elmhurst, our kind of town, for being here to videotape this, so that you can watch it on TV for those of you who couldn't make it, and those of you who want to see it again, just to see the humor and frivolity of the whole day. As has become the tradition, I want to take a few minutes to report on the state of the Chamber in 2010, certainly the most challenging year in my decade-plus tenure as president and CEO. And if that refrain sounds a little familiar, it should. I made the same assessment from this podium last year. The previous 2 years at this event, my address focused more on the economic uncertainties facing our community. I stressed to the business people and to our residents alike the importance of shopping Elmhurst first and shopping Chamber first, whenever possible, to keep those vital retail sales tax dollars and, just as importantly, the jobs associated with them within our municipality. Last week, Illinois Governor Pat Quinn and the state legislature raised the state's personal income tax by 67%, from 3% to 5%, which they hope will be offset by lower federal employment taxes. And they hiked the corporate income tax rate by 46%, from 4.8% to 7%. And businesses are paying even more on top of that. So for most businesses, they'll be in the 9.5% range by the time they finish paying their taxes. The city of Elmhurst continues to struggle with budget issues related basically to a $4 million decline in sales tax revenue over a multi-year period. $2 million of that is directly related to a decline in auto sales in our community. Now, the good news is the fourth quarter was pretty good across the country and here in Elmhurst. Our local auto dealers reported to me that they were selling cars in December, more than they sold a year ago. So that's a nice bounce back. The Retail Association nationally predicted there'd be a $600 million increase in spending over the fourth quarter, most of it related to high-end electronics, cell phones, cars, big screen TVs, those kinds of things. They were vastly wrong. That was going to be a 2.2% increase. It ended up being $1.8 billion in new spending in the fourth quarter. That's a 6.6% increase. That is a nice bump for our economy. Go ahead, give that a round of applause. We should know, in the Quigley household, we got 2 smartphones, a big screen TV, a new computer, a new laptop. Thank goodness I was able to hold off buying the new car for a little bit. In December, the Elmhurst Economic Development Commission gave its support to a package of economic development initiatives proposed by this chamber. Put on the back burner due to the city's late summer flooding issues, and now more than a year since its inception, the Chamber's Shop by Elmhurst campaign proposal will be reviewed by the Elmhurst City Council's Development, Planning, and Zoning Committee in February, and hopefully sent on to the City Council by March for funding approval. Also in partnership with the city, the Chamber is recruiting hometown automobile dealerships to participate in a consortium that will better brand Elmhurst as a destination for car buyers and better promote those dealerships to our own residents. With the working title of Elmhurst Wheels and Deals, the consortium is modeled in part after the Westmont Auto Mile concept. Visited by Ken Bartels, the city's economic development consultant, and I on January 10, owners of 3 different car dealerships expressed their support and interest in this consortium. We hope to meet with the remaining dealerships before month's end. So if any of you are out there, call me. The Chamber also wants to work with the city officials on a variety of business signage-related issues that have come up during multiple retention visits across our municipality. At this point, I would like to give a personal thank you. While this is the Mayor's Day with us, we are going to be losing a longtime city manager who has worked ardently with the Chamber, not just during my 11-plus years with the Chamber, but during his 40 years with the city and more than 20 years as city manager. City Manager Tom Borchert, would you stand up? I know we'll be throwing a little bash for you later, but I wanted you to get this public thank you from the chamber, and certainly from me personally. I appreciate all you've done for the city and for the chamber. Thank you, Tom. Being a small business operation itself, the chamber shares the plight of many of our own members. For the second year in a row, we trimmed our operating expenses without adversely affecting member benefits, member events, member services, or member programs. We did, however, have the worst fourth quarter imaginable. 11-year executive assistant Barb Savage handed in her resignation in November, and then 3-year member advocate Betsy Donofrio handed in her resignation in December, gutting my staff. And the worst part was my own members hired them away from me. Bill, you wouldn't happen to know where I could find Barb Savage, would you, Bill?
Actually, I don't, John.
Yeah.
But thanks for asking.
Well, keep shuttling her between your two offices, and that way I won't know where she's at. So we certainly have big shoes to fill in deciding how we're going to fill those vacancies. But for Barb and Betsy, would you give them a great round of applause for their service to the chamber? In a soft economy, the chamber still reinvested in our internet marketing and our presence through our website, www.elmhurstchamber.org, and our social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Just as an example, Friday I was leaving the office late, and I looked across the street, and Angelo's had opened up Rosalia's Deli. And I ran across the street, took a photo, ran back into the office, and it was Facebooked and Twittered out in the next 10 minutes. And we're going to be doing more of that to get business news out to the community. So we encourage business people and residents to sign up for the Chamber's Facebook and Twitter. Be a fan of the Chamber and be a follower of the Chamber on Twitter. Be a fan on Facebook and a follower on Twitter. Do that, and do it on the city's website as well. In addition, we expanded a unique publications consortium using our own members' expertise to design, publish, and deliver the biennial Elmhurst Street Map, as we had for the annual Elmhurst Community Directory. And for the first time ever, the 2010 Street Map was delivered to every residential address in Elmhurst. And it also featured maps of all of Elmhurst's various business districts. So we thank the members who helped us do that. On January 28th, the Chamber will conduct its 92nd anniversary annual meeting and awards dinner, and I invite all of you to come and celebrate that with us. We will honor OEC Business Interiors as the A.J. Tachi-Taronis Business of the Year for 2010. Jennifer Speaker of SMB Advantage Group as the Chairman's Award winner. Jason Janes of Edward Jones Investments as the Ambassador of the Year. In addition, we will induct lifelong Elmhurst resident and former 4-term Elmhurst Mayor Thomas D. Marcucci into our Civic Hall of Fame. We also are doing a duck race on February 25th. You have ducks at your tables. I would expect every one of you to grab a duck, walk downstairs, and buy either a single duck or a quackback for our duck race to support us. It's a great event. We're going to have a lot of fun. It's part of a business after hours as well. Take advantage of it. Some unknown person to the left of me and to the right on camera provided me with some really great things. Every duck has a bill attached. So so you can pay for it. Yeah, tomorrow morning you're going to wake up laughing at that one. Every duck has their day. Buy a duck. Don't be down in the mouth. Duck down. Yep. Every purchase is deductible as a business expense. There you go. The race is a good deduction. Don't be blind to a good shot. Buy a duck. Blind to a good shot. Come on. Everything is just ducky. And even if you lose, don't be down on your duck. And I'm sorry if those weren't quacked up to be what you thought they should be. I also want to emphasize to the chamber members the importance and the worth of their renewing their investment with us in 2010, and to advocate to non-members the value in supporting our community through the Chamber. This year, the Chamber needs your full commitment to further our vision to be the voice of business and achieve our mission to foster a business climate that remains progressive, responsive, and innovative. Finally, I want to applaud you and the hundreds of our other members whose loyal support and steadfast commitment has earned our Chamber the respect of our government, our residents, and our peers. And I thank you.
And to work on your delivery, John. Our keynote speaker this morning changed the name of this event last year to give it more meaning and significance, from the state of the city to the state of our city. Elected in 2009 and speaking at his second State of Our City address, the mayor of Elmhurst is a dynamic and personable man, a leader who has shown in his service to this community that he's open to new ideas, that he will share his expertise, provide direction, and open the local government process to everyone in the Elmhurst family. Elmhurst citizens, businesses, and organizations have very high standards and expectations, and no one knows that better than our mayor, the mayor of Elmhurst, the Honorable Peter DiCiani.
Thank you, Ken. Chairman Gooch, President O'Keefe, and CEO Mr. Quigley of the Chamber of Commerce, and all the business people and the residents that are here today. Welcome this morning. 2010 was an exciting year with many positive and encouraging aspects. First of all, the City Council, after much consideration from the Finance Task Force led by Chairman Diamond and Chairman Levin, now Alderman Levin, unanimously passed a balanced budget with no reduction to reserves and maximum delivery of services which we come to expect in the fine town that we call Elmhurst, Illinois. It takes a team to get that done, and I applaud the City Council. In fact, if the City Council could please rise and be commended for that feat. A unanimous vote on a balanced budget. Alderman Levin, Alderman Wagner, Alderman Mulliner, Alderman Morley, Alderman Hipskin, Gutenkopf, and Healy are all here today that brought that home. And I just think that was a great thing and a signal that we sent that we can do this, that we can solve our money issues. We prioritized, we made cuts in administrative staffs, we outsourced, worked with our unions in both public works, police, and fire. We're also diversifying our revenue streams and looking for creative ways to bring in new revenue. In doing all this, we laid off not one policeman, not one firefighter, not one public works employee, because we need to keep our town safe and proper in quality. We need to preserve the culture and history that makes this town so great. We have been able to reduce the headcount primarily at the top, higher paid level, replacing positions with those functions with contractors, contracting positions that get much more measurable return on investment at considerable savings, both now and in future legacy costs, such as pensions and health care. We added much needed parking to our growing downtown, added nearly 300 parking spaces for commuters and employees with the First Street parking deck. We listened to residents, sought out over $2.5 million in grants from Metra, and with the help of a great public-private partner, built a new deck on time and under budget. The deck looks like a condo building. It's economic development, Elmhurst style. State and federal grants secured through our state agencies with help of Senators Cronin and Pankow, and here today, Representative Dennis Rubaletti and past Representative Bob Biggins, repaved miles of streets, including St. Charles Road, Spring Road, Route 83, West Avenue, and many, many side streets from north to south Elmhurst that were in much need of repair. These grants, combined with local matching dollars, made that happen. Spring Road businesses created an SSA to redo sidewalks and streetscape lamps along the Spring Road Business District, a great example of how small businesses and property owners band together for the common good, combined with a coordinated street paving effort that kept those local merchants, open for business with lights on, even during construction. Ribbon cuttings for newly opened businesses, such as a new car dealer, Luxury Motors, up on North Church Road, and the reopening of the old McNally's by one of our local York grads, Chuck Rizzo, called Charlie's. Along with Jim Blessing's opening of Pints, established new establishments to reinvigorate the York Road corridor south of the tracks. Also reinvigorated were the North and York areas. We saw virtually an empty corner there, with the whole corner being vacant. Now we've got an AT&T store in there. We've got Jersey Mike's, which is, from what I understand, the busiest Jersey Mike's in the country. The Maloney team of Mark and Kathy Maloney worked to bring in retail businesses like Fannie Mae back to York Road, and are in the process of bringing us into the 21st century with social networking on Facebook and Twitter, with the branding of the Explore Elmhurst, which I would ask all of us today in attendance to like on Facebook, and please share with your friends so that Elmhurst can grow viral and share all the good things that we have to offer. Property owners and real estate brokers, both commercial and industrial, will like our online mapping available space, which shows available space so it is easily accessible to the industry, while we keep our vacancy rates among the lowest. Intergovernmental cooperation between city and parks brought us additional parking along Spring Road and Prairie Path, and over $600,000 in TIF dollars that were released from the Lake and Walnut TIF, much due to the success of Kurt Shealy's successful automotive dealership, both Elmhurst Toyota, Elmhurst BMW, and Elmhurst Jaguar, as well as Superior Ambulance rebuilding that whole area, left us a surplus. And we shared that surplus this year with our other taxing bodies. We knew that our schools and our parks were struggling, especially our schools. And that netted our schools just under $500,000 in surplus money that we shared with them. I am confident that one of the youngest city councils ever in the history, with more children, including all of 3 of mine, in public schools, along with the mayor that is a product of our public schools, we will have much trust and cooperation in rebuilding areas in need and finishing the job started by previous councils and mayors that were truly visionaries. It is the city's mission to grow and build a tax base for the other taxing bodies. That is what cities do. Enterprise zones, SSAs, TIFs, are all vehicles cities need to compete and attract new business development and redevelopment. This means new business and new jobs. New revenues that take the burden off of our taxes, of our taxing our seniors and our families, but bring vital revenues that are needed to teach our kids, continue to offer vital programs to our seniors, and bottom line, protect our families and the culture that we expect in Elmhurst. Our next focus for 2011 will be to add more retail and more parking on Addison Street, which is prime for redevelopment and in much need of parking, as the parking between York and Addison is lacking, frustrating retail shoppers. Continuing the search for a high-end grocer and finding replacements and possibly diversifying some of the holes we have in our vacancies, especially those in our car dealer areas. The move to recruit big box retailers and or home improvement stores may be possible replacements. As always, my goal will be to keep our shopping parking free. We have less than a 4% vacancy rate in our downtown, and I think that speaks volumes for the kind of town Elmhurst is and the people that are loyal and shop Elmhurst. The Shop Elmhurst campaign will be officially launched this first quarter by the Elmhurst Economic Development Commission in conjunction with the Chamber of Commerce, the Elmhurst City Center, and under the umbrella, the Elmhurst Business Alliance. This campaign is critical in instilling and educating the residents of Elmhurst, both now and to keep our property tax, or to keep our shopping dollars local, which will keep our property taxes low. From cars to appliances to food and everyday purchases, sales tax dollars help keep our property taxes low while keeping our city services at a level that we've come to expect in Elmhurst, and that is second to none. The search for our city manager, God bless Tom Borchard, will begin shortly, as City Manager Borchard will be retiring this June. This will be one of the most important decisions for the City Council, and more importantly, for the City of Elmhurst. Much of our focus this next 2 quarters will be on this selection. 2010 had some challenges as well, including this mayor having to sign a declaration of emergency for the first time since 1987. The record storms that struck the region, devastating residents and businesses, and in some cases almost complete towns, including neighbors to our southeast, such as Westchester. Elmhurst certainly had our share of residents impacted. While a new berm, which was installed shortly after this council was seated in 2009, saved nearly 5,000 homes, street flooding affected still nearly 750. While many told me FEMA would never declare Elmhurst and this region eligible for federal relief funds. Myself and surrounding mayors would not take no for an answer. The visit by U.S. Senator Dick Durbin to Elmhurst was the clincher that brought over $250 million to the region, making this event the largest FEMA event in the region's history. Elmhurst was the highest municipality in DuPage County, our residents, to receive funds. My heart goes out to the people that suffered water damage, people like Mary Stash from the 700 block of Washington Street, a single mom who works 2 jobs, one at Verlaire Cleaners and one at Jewel, who were left in a very, very tough spot. Mary received over $24,000 from FEMA and told me last night that if it wasn't for those dollars, she would not be in her home. Bob and Tracy Slicer, along with their 3 children, similar situation in the Washington area there. I will work tirelessly for these people, not only now, but in the future. The beginning of 2011, in fact, the very first day was marked with a tragic passing of one of our own. Police Officer Kyle Dealing, a 27-year-old dedicated member of the city of Elmhurst. The first policeman that I saw in as mayor. The young man was so excited to be a cop in the town where he grew up. He left a loving mother, a dad, a sister Emily, and a fiance who will never forget him. God bless the Dealings and their loss. Kyle, his smile, his dedication to the city will never be forgotten. The 2011 Stormwater Task Force will jump into full gear with the permanent hire, and he's here today, of Mr. Christopher Burke Engineering and RJN. This team of award-winning engineers will lead the task force, analyze our infrastructure, and have a full comprehensive plan of action that the city can take to minimize future stormwater issues. The group of 40 dedicated professionals, many of which are engineers, all being residents, will volunteer their time to identify our weaknesses and work for solutions for this critical issue. 2011 Elmhurst Economic Development Commission will be expanded with the mission of recruiting and retaining businesses. This commission will be a key element to diversifying our tax base. We have a great city and a great location, great access to all highways, and low sales and property tax, which makes us attractive for businesses. We're going to go out there and recruit those folks and keep the ones that we have. This commission will be selling this concept, which is how Elmhurst can maintain one of the lowest property tax rates, yet deliver a high level of service. This combination protects our property values, which despite these economic downturns, Elmhurst has fared incredibly well. We have one of the lowest unemployment and foreclosure rates, along with the diverse household income that averages just north of $110,000, according to Equifax and Sightline. Commercial real estate, and while we know excuse me, I flipped my wrong page here. Yeah. And while we know that some people are hurting, and thanks to Alderman Susan Rose, the council has created tax relief for those in need. The best way to keep our town going is moving forward, creating jobs as we have done with the new hospital. I see Leo Franz out here today, who's done a great job, and Peter Daniels will be taking over the realm there. Seizing opportunities to create more senior options, including possible housing at the Berteau site at the old Elmhurst Hospital. That will be repurposed for the community. Create more parking and retail in our downtown, and keep on answering the wants and needs of the Elmhurst residents. Building our tax base, which keeps property taxes on our residents and seniors low, but brings much needed dollars to our local schools, which are the pillar that makes our town so great. Thank you for your time, taking your time out of your day, and making the commitment to Elmhurst, to make Elmhurst the very best that it can be. Thank you, and I wish you and everyone the best of health, prosperity, and goodwill for 2011. God bless and thank you.
Give our mayor another great round of applause. I know for those of you who were used to being here for a Marcucci State of the City, you're going, wow, we got a lot of time. But the good news is, that leaves us more time for some really good Q&A. Mayor DeCiani always wants to give back and forth on the Q&A, so we'd like you to step forward with your questions. You know, one of the things, Pete, I'm concerned about, and I know you've been down to Springfield several times. I'll be down there on the 24th. You know, we don't live in a bubble, and as much as we've been able to protect our property taxes and our businesses and those kinds of things, the reality is right now, Illinois's got one of the worst states for business taxes, and we're losing jobs out of the state, not bringing them in. Can you speak to what you're talking to downstate to our state reps and state senators about that?
Sure. State government's in a very, very difficult situation, and this is not a Democrat or Republican thing. This has been an issue that's been going on over years, and we got to be truthful. I mean, governors have borrowed and haven't been responsible, you know. So the voice of local government to the state is that please get your ship in order. We understand you have to make, you may have to make some moves, but we also want to see some transparency, some cuts and fluff. You know, we had to make cuts at City Hall. We had 4 counters at City Hall that went down to 2, but we're still getting the same services and the same productivity out, and we're expecting that out of our state too. But we're also expecting our state that they pay their bills and they take care of organizations like Ray Graham and the Human Services and Social Services Organization, Metropolitan Family Services that serve the most vulnerable people as well too. So, you know, we also have to look big picture. So, you know, I don't go down there slamming them. I try to go down there and be constructive and bipartisan because that's truly, in my opinion, how you try and work together. I did it in 2008 when we tried to reform insurance, and we brought home insurance coverage for a lot of kids with challenges, including my daughter, and that was done in a bipartisan effort, and that's how I'll always continue to try and work. Despite this income tax raise, we are still the 30th lowest state in the country. So you know, as much as we hear going back and forth, I don't see businesses flocking away from Illinois. In fact, I think businesses will hopefully be looking at options to stay in Illinois and look at Elmhurst as a DuPage County city that has a viable low sales tax, that has, you know, 1/3 the property tax rate that Cook County has, and will attract businesses that way. So while, you know, this has been kind of a shock for a lot of us, those of us, I think, in the know that have seen these vulnerable agencies, Misericordia, Ray Graham, our schools are behind what, $4 or $5 million? And I was talking with Maria Hirsch, who was here today, one of our school board members, and I'm very, very concerned for our public schools in our town. We have great public schools. Our expectations are high. We pass referendums. We build our schools. But our state has been irresponsible, and they haven't paid our schools. So we're hoping that with this increase in revenue, they'll be able to pay their bills, pay our schools back, pay our agencies back like Ray Graham. So let's look at, again, the glass half full versus half empty here. But we also want to make sure that we keep our municipal share coming in from the state as well too, because that's a big, vital revenue stream that we want to make sure that they don't take from us as well, because oftentimes they will, you know, pass the buck and put more burden on local government. So that's something that we definitely are in the area of. This tax increase will not take anything away from the municipalities, which is important. So, and again, let's hope that they pay our schools and get you guys caught up, because I am very, very concerned. Having served on the task force along with Kevin Diamond and many of us back in 2005, we looked at about a $4 million hole in our district, and the best of businessmen, CPAs and finance folks came in to look at how we can solve this. And I remember Kevin and I walking in and saying, okay, we got a $100 million budget. We'll find you know, $4 million bucks. And all of a sudden, you know, you're digging, you're trying to find what you can cut, where you can't, and you realize that we're gonna have to cut kids here and cut programs, and that's something that we in this town respect. Back in 2004, I fought to save programs in our schools, and it's probably one of the things I think that made people realize I care so much about the community. And so the next year or 2 or 3 or multiple years are going to be tough for our district. And I can guarantee you one thing: you're going to have a mayor and a council that's up here that's pro-growth, because the only thing that could help schools is growth. So, because if CPI continues to stay low and doesn't keep up with wages, growth is the only thing that's going to help you. So that's why in my speech I said this is going to be very, very crucial to help our schools. Where we can give you guys money out of our TIFs, we're going to do that. We may see areas in our community that are going down in value. We may need to create new TIFs, because we don't want to, you know, we want to stop that pain so that we can build a tax base up for you as well too. So, but this council is dedicated. Again, we've got the youngest council here, I think, that I've seen in a long time that has kids in public schools. I can't see us doing anything but a win-win to help our district. So, and we'll always be lobbying the state. Any other questions that anybody might have? And
Questions from the floor, shout them out.
we know we got representatives. In fact, one of our city council members, Alderman Nybo, is now a state representative in Bob Biggins' seat. We've got great representation locally that live in our community, and now we also have a senator that's now the chairman of the county. Senator Cronin is now county board chairman. I think that's going to do nothing but good to strengthen our community. So, and I have great working relationships with all these people. So, questions? While people are thinking, I'm going to give a plug out to Kathleen Gusloff, who's on our youth commission. The Character Count Service Awards are coming up, and they're looking for nominations of people that give back to the community, people that volunteer. So on our city website, you could find the actual nominations forms. Please get those filled out. We have so many people that do good for this town, that volunteer. I look around, I see the ECAF folks here, I see people from Kiwanis and from all the different service and civic groups. Let's recognize these people. These people oftentimes do things and don't want any recognition, but I think it's important that the people that do help and do great things, whether it's students or seniors or business people that step up, that they be recognized and honored for the great things that I think that really makes Elmhurst the unique town that we have. So, come on, there's got to be some questions. Mr. Rosenberg.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
First of all, congratulations to you, council and staff, because I'm part of that Spring Road group that benefited from all the cooperative efforts. We have a better street, a cleaner street, a more modern street, and it's beautiful, and it was a property and city cooperative effort. And to your point about problems in terms of businesses, you know that we have a building on that street, and not one person complained for a moment that the street was disrupted. So to you first, thank you for that, and the council as well, and the staff. Mr. Borchard and I were even talking about how the city has this relationship of how do we get it done? Not how do we stop it, how do we fix the problem, but how do we get it done? You did all of that, thank you. My other question, though, is about income. I've noticed on 83 that to the west, we have an enormous asphalt plant that sits there. Do we ever get any billing from any of that concrete asphalt building? Is there opportunity for us, because I think that's, excuse me, DuPage County. Is there any opportunity for us to ever incorporate that into the city and get sales tax revenue from that location?
That's a very good question, Rich. We're looking for any way to bring in sales tax opportunities. So we will reach out to those vendors, and oftentimes those folks may sell wholesale and not charge sales tax, but they also may. So we need to reach out, and that's a great idea. We are definitely looking at opportunities where we can work with companies to secure those sales tax dollars wherever possible. So sales tax dollars are huge and often are overlooked, but they typically have brought in three times, sometimes even higher, the amount that our property taxes bring in. So we have, I believe, out of the 36 municipalities in DuPage County, we are roughly around the third lowest in property taxes, and that is because of the diversification we have with our sales tax. Now that's been challenged, and we had to make some changes in revenue to offset that challenge. But our goal is to seek out those sales tax producing businesses and get those dollars back up where they should be. So, and that's I look over, I see Paul Cook from our car dealer row over there, and Danny Roche and Kurt Sheely, and they're working their tail off over there. The economy is coming back. There has been consolidation in the industry. We know that. We lost Saturn and we lost Lincoln Mercury, and those are challenges we're looking to overcome. Saturn will be replaced by a group called Chamberlain, and that's already going to be filled. And I think that's one thing that's too is unique about our community. While we do have some shortcomings, they typically get repurposed pretty quickly. I look at Frank Catalano's building, Wine and Vine. Great establishment. It just didn't work out for them. They closed right before the holiday, which was sad. But we have a new business going in that entity. I believe it's called Marinos, and that's going to be coming in this April. So within 30, 45 days, the Catalano group was calling me saying, "Hey, we've got prospects. What do you think?" And it's nice to see stores opening. The old McNally's, I know Mr. Diamond, that he was on me for many years to get this establishment going, and I got to razz them. And they've got a great product, great food venue. They've got 2 levels. So I think we're seeing some really unique retail, invigoration in our community, which is a great sign. And we've seen it throughout the whole town, from the north end to the south end. So it hasn't just been in one spot. So we're going to continue to push for that. We've got the Maloneys, who are consultants, and we've got Ken Bartels, who's a consultant. When I talked about some of our changes we've made with the administration, we've made some employee changes and actually gone to consultants that are proven, that have a great track record, that are out there working. We measure their return on investment. They're doing a great job. So I'm very, very much looking forward to the future. We've got this Economic Development Commission, which we're expanding. They're all local business people. We've got some great applicants. We'll be announcing those very, very shortly. And those people out there knocking on doors, talking to our businesses, what's going right, what's going wrong. This is all a work in progress. We want to make sure that we hear our businesses out and that we're receptive and responsive. So I think that's what makes us unique. So, other questions? There's got to be questions. Come on, in the back.
Joe.
Yeah.
Mayor, what's the status of the Stevens Steakhouse property? That's one question. But I also want to make a comment. Cafe Amano opened their Amano Boucherie.
Yes.
That same building you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that we should all frequent if possible. And I think that the city on the whole is really not mirroring the rest of the country. I travel a lot in my business and for fun. I see a lot of places where retail is a lot of vacant stores. We don't have that here. We got stuff that's open, shop here, it's a great place to live, great place to shop.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, we have businesses like Amano that are actually opening up multiple places with their high-end butcher shop and doing organic meats and really things that you can't find in other places. And that's, I think, what really makes us unique. We are recruiting a high-end grocer. We're still on Trader Joe's doors. We're on Mariano's doors. We're on Whole Foods doors. I've been actually going out and visiting along with some of our staff these establishments and trying to show our face and our interest, and we're courting. So we've got the fishing poles in the water, and we will continue to keep on fishing, and it's I think that's important. Even the folks over at Angelo's, a long time family establishment. I remember as a kid going to Two Brothers with I came from 7 kids, so we always went out eating pizza because that's what was affordable. So we had the big round table at Two Brothers, and then they opened up Angelo's. Now Angelo's opened up recently a new deli. They redid their building, and Rosalie's Deli, probably named after Angelo's Josh's mom. The Good Earth is also remodeling. They're repurposing. They kind of went through a little bit of an identity crisis, but I talked to Tom Cronin, and he said we are going to be reopening this spring. It's going to be kind of a cafe type of front end with also a deli as well, kind of like a Mike's Meat Market, I think is what they're looking to go after, with reducing the size of the grocery there. But sometimes you open up and you're not sure how things are going to work out. You test the market, but he said they're not going anywhere, and by this spring they should be retooled and repurposed as well too. So those are the things that Stevens Steakhouse. Oh, that was the question. I apologize. We had
He's not the mayor.
Stevens Steakhouse originally was going to go to Thornton's gas station. They had the contract pending on the property, and for whatever reason, we're not sure, that deal fell through. Obviously, it was something between the seller and the buyer. I had mixed reviews on Thornton's. It's a great corner. I grew up right there. Stevens Steakhouse was a landmark. It was an establishment that everybody went to, and especially for a fine steak. That corner could be a variety of things, so it doesn't necessarily have to be a gas station, although we can't necessarily always say what it can be. That's where SSAs and enterprise zones and TIF districts do give us some say. That particular area is not in one of those 3 districts, and that's why I mentioned we're looking at different parts of our community. We look at York and Villette, just on the north end of there with the TCBY and the Browns property. Those are areas that have been sitting for many years, and they're going to need a little push. So, and it's not fair to our schools and other taxing bodies to let those properties decline. It's not, quite frankly, it's not fair to our residents. So we're going to be looking hard at what could we do as a city to put instruments in place to make those properties more appropriate to market. So, and possibly also repurpose as well too. So, Mr. Benson.
Good morning, and thank you for your service and all of our council. Can you comment and explain to us what's going on with the expansion at O'Hare International Airport, specifically the new runways, as well as the entranceways, whether it will be a southern entrance or a western entrance, and what we're doing to help that, and as well as the plans for the changing of entrances and exits on Grand Avenue at I-294.
It's a good question. It's going to be very vital for Elmhurst, western access and southern access. And the airport is a key job producer. It's a key economic development tool which will stimulate growth, and we want to make sure Elmhurst is there to be stimulated. Our governor, actually, John Quigley and I met during the fall at the western side of O'Hare, supporting western access. We had many mayors with us. We have a bipartisan coalition of mayors, both in Cook County and DuPage County, that want to see this happen. It's going to be costly, to the tune of somewhere around $3 to $4 billion. I met with the Tollway Authority, who will probably be taking the lead on this particular project, and we have in one of the options ramps at Grand Avenue. Will that happen? It's about funding. It's about getting money from Washington, getting money through the state. That's why I talked about looking at possibly bringing a person in to help generate those grants and help open some of those doors. We've got election to our east that's going to be very critical, and we're hoping to have a mayor that will support, as Mayor Daley did, a regional growth. Mayor Daley took his shots, but one thing about the mayor was he was a regional guy. He just didn't think about Chicago. He thought about everybody around Chicago, which most people don't realize. And I think in talking to especially a lot of the old-time mayors that surround us, they're really hoping that, whether it's Emmanuel or Chico or whoever it might be, Carol Mosley Braun, that they have some vision on regional growth, not only for their city but for ours as well too. So again, bipartisanship. Governor's on board with this. We've lobbied. I actually flew out to Washington in September, back when we had the storms, and I lobbied not only stormwater, but I also lobbied transportation. We've got congressmen to our east and also congressmen of our own. Congressman Peter Raskin, who was just made I believe, the majority whip. So he's in leadership now, which is a great thing for us. We've got congressmen to our east, Congressman Lipinski, who is also the vice chair of transportation. So we've got the federal, I think, people in position, both in Cook and DuPage, to make things happen. And you got a mayor that's definitely in front of those folks that is selling our town and making sure that we get our right. Mayor of Franklin Park, Mayor of Bensonville, Mayor of Elmhurst are all on board for ramps at Grand Avenue. So I think that's also important, because sometimes you get towns that get territorial and don't want things. So I think we've built a coalition that will make that happen. The airlines have to be participated. We saw in the last week that the bonding to finish O'Hare is somewhat possibly in jeopardy, but I think you saw Senator Durbin and Congressman Kirk and the federal guys step up and say, no, this is going to happen. So I think O'Hare is definitely going to finish, and it's up to us to make sure we get our fair share. So we're also looking at joining a different noise group, which will hopefully bring more revenue and soundproofing dollars to our homes up on the north end. Having been a North Sider, I know what that was like. And so we're looking at joining a more friendlier organization to make that happen. I see SOC, which is the old consortium of DuPage mayors, probably going into a mode of a lobbying mode for Western access. That's where I see SOC going. So, but those are good questions, and we really need to make sure that we get our fair share. Mayor of Itasca, Bensonville, Bensonville took a huge hit with the airport. Now they need to see some benefit, and by them getting access to their town, we're hoping that everybody benefits. And it's important that other towns around us do well, because we don't want to be just an island here. We want to have other towns succeed too. So, other questions? And those mayors, Mayor Soto, Mayor Peterson from Franklin Park, Mayor Soto from Bensonville, Mayor Johnson from Wooddale, Mayor Pruitt from Itasca, we're like this. So we're all working together and kind of speaking the same voice. And we've all agreed on an option. We've got resolutions passed at all our city councils. We got resolutions passed at the state level to show that we're all unified. Years ago, everybody was on the wrong page. So I think now we've got more of a unified effort than ever. So, yes, Annie?
Talk a little bit about what's being discussed with the signage in downtown.
Yes, well, we've definitely heard from our businesses that signage is an issue, and we are going to do whatever we can to be more sign-friendly, but at the same time still keep continuity in our town. So these proposals will be going through our zoning commission as well as our zoning committee. I see Chairman Morley out in the back with all smiles. So one thing I think too is we've got aldermen and even commissioners that are all business owners. And so I think we'll look at this in a very open-minded way to be as friendly to businesses as possible. So it's a very good question, though, because a lot of our ordinances are old. So including one for our school that we're going to be visiting as well too for field usage and everything else. We're the only municipality next to one other that has an ordinance on stadium usage. So. It's pretty unique, and we're going to do whatever we can to be as friendly to District 205 as possible. So, while also keeping the neighbors in mind as well too. But I think, the mayor moved next to a church about 7, 8 years ago, and that church I thought every Sunday would be crowded. This church has got stuff going on. God bless them every day. I can't even park in front of my house. But I can't go to that church and ask them to change because the mayor decided to build a house on the corner of Crescent and Hillside. Church was there a lot longer than me. So they're good people doing good things, and I think that's what's kind of going on at District 205. They're doing great things. Kids are involved with sports. We're keeping them off the streets, and we're going to do whatever we can to keep that going. So, other questions? Yes, Dee?
Back in the summer when we had all the flooding, one of the issues that came up was Commonwealth Edison, and you were saying that they needed to invest in our town and make things a little better. Is there any update on that? Or?
We are definitely on ComEd's radar. We have been meeting with ComEd. I am pushing the envelope. I'm a salesman, so I'm going right to the top. I want the whole new system, and we're hoping we'll get that. But the reality is that from what staff is telling me and from what I can gather, they have been very responsive and adaptive to our concerns. I know the first meeting I had with ComEd, I kind of blew my stack, and this was right after I was elected. We had a bad storm, and they didn't call me back for 3 days. And I had a hospital, actually, that was Elmhurst Hospital, that their power was down, and we got a call at the fire station, and I was actually there because I was working the command center, and they told us we have 6 hours left. Because our backup power at the time didn't run the AC units, and this was in July, So I'm on the phone with ComEd saying, get this hospital up, because, I don't know if Superior Ambulance has enough ambulances to move 300 patients, in 6 hours. Thank God we got them in our town, but we don't want to have to put them to the test. ComEd was very, very responsive after my initial meeting, and they actually gave us a new representative. I have his cell phone, but I can't share that. and the power of our hospital was restored within about an hour and a half. In fact, it was funny when the person from the hospital called. It was probably about midnight, and she goes, "You might want to let the mayor know," because the chief was next to me. And he goes, "Well, the mayor's right next to me." It's like this. So I'm on the phone, ComEd. Make sure the nursing homes are up, make sure the hospitals are up, and these seniors depend on oxygen, they depend on air conditioning. We have the largest senior population in DuPage County. My mom is a senior, and so it's so critical that we have reliable power. So, and when we have to put in our own power systems, as many of us have done, it's kind of unfortunate. But we're going to be on them. I'm going to be pushing for as much infrastructure upgrades as all possible. So, and we do appreciate John O'Halloran, and he has really stepped up for us. Now it's just a matter of getting the higher ups to, commit to spending the dollars. So, and that'll be part of this task force process too. We're going to be looking at ComEd and working with them as well, and pushing the envelope as much as possible. So, anyone else? Anybody? Well, thank you for everything.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In closing this morning, a brief but important announcement. As John Quigley let all of you know, and most of you would have known anyway, Tom Borchert will be retiring in June. I'm pleased to tell you that on May 13, in 2011, the Elmhurst Heritage Foundation will be hosting a Tom Borchert tribute. Tom asked the Heritage Foundation to do this, and the benefits from the dinner on May 13 will benefit the Elmhurst Heritage Foundation, and I know the foundation is very grateful to Tom. So save that date, May 13, and you'll be hearing more from the foundation in due course. In a city of very strong leaders, Tom, of course, has been among the strongest and certainly among the longest. This State of Our City address and event is concluded for 2011. We will gather back here on January 17 in 2012. We will see you all then. Have a good morning.
Hi, I'm John Quigley, President and CEO of the Elmhurst Chamber of Commerce and Industry. In these challenging economic times, it's imperative that our residents and businesses band together to not only shop Elmhurst, but buy Elmhurst whenever possible. We have great stores in our city center, Spring Road, Butterfield Road, York and Villette Streets, St. Charles and Route 83, North Avenue and Lake Street, along North York and even Grand Avenue. I ask for your help. Let's keep our tax dollars in Elmhurst.
Hi, I'm Elmhurst Police Chief Steve Neubauer. Elmhurst is a great place to live and work. However, we are not crime-free. Many people in our community become victims of crime simply because they did not lock their belongings. I would ask you to do two things. First, lock your car, house, and bike. Secondly, call 911 to report suspicious activity to the Elmhurst Police Department. The Elmhurst Police Department reminds you to lock it or lose it.